Well, welcome to Martini Time. I wasn't going to, let me adjust this a little bit. I want you to see my teddy. I didn't have anything to say, but then suddenly when I was fixing my martini, I just wanted to share a laugh with you. You know, I'm getting used to that. And so, anyway, I just thought, would you like to see my pride and joy? I don't know if I've ever shown that to you. Would you like to see that? Okay. Here it is. See? Now, this is my card. It's got To Kill a Minotaur up there. And my uncle gave me this. And he said, you can use that on your card because you give that to somebody and they'll never forget it. They'll keep that. I've had people call me back for years because of that card. And now I couldn't hear you, and I don't know if you got a laugh at it or not, but 99% of the time, when I say, would you like to see my pride and joy? There's a, well, sure. Then there is an expectation. He's going to show me his ugly kid or his car or his dog or something. You know, I don't know what this guy's pride and joy is, you know. Okay, yeah, I'll smile. I'll say it looks great. All right. And then you give him that. And then there is a big, there is a hole there. There's a pause. There's the blank. And then they just laugh, you know. And it's like lightning. You know, the thunder comes because lightning burns out the oxygen. And so there is a flash and it burns out this, and then the air rushes in, and boom, thunder. The air rushing in is laughter. And the space in the mind has all of Zen is it. When I teach my classes on insight meditation, I always open with this because the whole class is contained in that. This one little joke here contains all of Zen. And the reason how it works is that, as I'm trying to explain this, there is an expectation that you're going to see somebody. Pride and joy is a metaphor, you see. So, you know, pride and joy could be fill in the blank. It means my pride and joy, something that I take a lot of pride and joy in, something that is valuable to me, you see, and I want to share it, you see. But other people don't have, you know, I mean, it's like Kramer, you know, remember the Seinfeld when they had a baby and it was, and everybody was saying, oh, what a nice baby, you know, and Kramer comes in and says, well, look, what an ugly baby. Right. So there's a certain expected politeness when somebody says, would you like to see my pride and joy? You certainly are not going to disappoint them, you see. It's not nice manners. So, but then when you see that, that's like the oxygen has been burnt out. See, there's an expectation to see somebody's picture, and then there is the literal statement. You want to see my pride and joy. It's literally a pride and joy. You know. And by the way, these are from the 50s. You don't get them like that anymore. So there's an expectation, and then you see just the truth. It's just this. It's just this pride and joy, you see. So there's this space that opens up for a moment that sustains both of them. The expectation and the actual fact are kind of like held together simultaneously in like an intermediate zone. It's like two opposites. You see, usually our consciousness works on the logic of the one. Everything is everything is the one. So the one that we expect to show up is a picture of somebody's pride and joy. But the one that shows up is a can of pride and joy. So there is a moment where the mind is totally empty because it's not the expectation, and it hasn't realized yet that it's literally pride and joy. So there's a little bitty moment there. And that moment, in which is the ironic moment. It's the ironic moment is the moment that sustains two completely opposites, contradictions, both at once. And that irony makes us laugh. That irony, that's why we laugh at jokes. Jokes are ironic. This is another example of my uncle's humor. I've shown this before. You see that lying on your coffee table? The expectation is, oh my God, he spilled that on his coffee table. Oh, then you look at it closely. Oh, it's plastic. So there's several ways I look at this. One thing is the joke liberates you from your expectation. Oh, it's really just this. It's really just a pride and joy. It's just this. That's Zen. Zen is about just this flower, just this taste, just this smell. Don't add anything. No reference. It doesn't mean anything outside of itself. Just this doesn't mean anything outside of itself. So you see, just this doesn't mean anything. This is pride and joy. It's not referencing my kid. It's not referencing my truck or dog, you see. So when I show somebody, you'll see my pride and joy, well, then they show you a picture of my dog. The meaning of the dog is in the reference to my value of the dog. There's no meaning in the dog for you. It's just a dog. You see. So the meaning is reference to me. But then when I show you this, it's just this. There is no reference to my values or anything, you see. So so the card, the little joke, the little pride and joy, you see, creates a release from the external meaning of anything. You see, like, what does it mean? Well, what does it mean? It means there's a story to it, or something external. Nothing in our world, in our world. Nothing. Everything has meaning because it's reference to something else. You see, but this is just this. So this is kind of like Satori in Zen, when you're given a Zen koan, which is a contradiction of logical opposites that you can't get out of because you can't arrive at just this. So like if I give you a Zen koan, and there are many of them that are famous, so one Zen koan is, if you say this is a martini glass, you're wrong. If you say it isn't a martini glass, you're wrong. Now, which is it? Choose or I'll smack you. You see? So, the koan is that and the master gives it to you. So, in other words, you have to figure it out. It's not just, oh, phooey, forget you, you see. There's an answer there. There's an answer to the koan. So you have to figure it out. That's why you go to the master. So, but you can't logically figure it out. Is it this? You can't, if you say it's this, or you say it's that, you see, because you can't come up with, it's just, you can't choose the one, because it's two. You see, it's this or that, but both choices are wrong. Now, which one is right? You see, you're caught in a double bind. So in the Zen cone, when you suddenly have a breakthrough, it's called a breakthrough, it's like the breakthrough with this. You suddenly just fall on the floor laughing. Suddenly something transcends the two opposites that can't be included as the one. Yet they're mutually dependent, you see. The cone situation is called a double bind. A double bind is where you have two opposite choices that are mutually dependent. So there are two, but you can't separate them. And so the dilemma is that we have to choose, but you can't choose one by eliminating the other because they're mutually dependent, you see. So, it's like this. So these are like, so these are mutually dependent opposites, right? They're mutually dependent because they are tied together. This does not make any noise. This does not make any noise. But when you put the two opposites together, you get that, you see. So that's laughter. That is in the little card here. And I'm just winging it right now, so I hope it makes sense. So when I say you want to see my pride and joy, that's reference to some picture or something coming. And then there's that is just this. These are two opposites of pride and joy, but they're mutually dependent. They're mutually dependent because they're mutually dependent in the context of my presenting this to you. I present this to you under the guise of it being one thing that you're going to see, but suddenly it's two contradictions. There's a contradiction between your expectation of this as a picture of a dog and the actual literal pride and joy, you see. Those are two contradictory, incompatible opposites. It can't be a dog and the pride and joy at the same time. But they are. So when it just collapses, when the contradiction it collapses in a laugh, in a burst, it collapses into a thunderclap. You see, the air rushes in and goes boom. You see, laughter, realization, satori. I see. The seeing, you see, transcends the dissonance of the mutually dependent but incompatible halves, you see. And so our consciousness in the Western world, in our society, is a logical consciousness which sees everything as the one. Not many people understand metaphor. And a lot of people don't understand art. And art is all about metaphor and irony, holding two opposites together, inviting you to see. So you're looking at the picture, I don't see anything. And another person's, oh, I see. So in movies too, movies are metaphors. And so art is the vehicle of metaphor, which invites you to transcend the opposites contained in the art. So all art contains mutually exclusive but mutually dependent opposites. And when we see that, there is a leap of consciousness that suddenly sees this greater whole that the art was pointing to. The whole, the seeing, the whole is greater than the parts, you see. And marriage is like that. Boy, I jump around a lot. I forgot my watch, so I don't know what time it is. Marriage is like that. Marriage contains two mutually exclusive, two opposites, but mutually dependent halves. And the relationship is the whole. So whenever we're in a fight, in a fit, you see, and suddenly we might call it forgiveness, but suddenly we see the whole in the two conflicting parts, you see. And the seeing of the whole is when you just hug the other person. And maybe you cry. And you're both one in that hug. Or it might be laughter. And play does that. So when you play with somebody, there's an invitation to be one in the play that is two. The two, you and the other person in play, are opposites, contradictions, two ones, yet in the play, you're one. So in the play, you transcend the parts. You become whole in the play. You see, this is everywhere, but we don't really, you're not like, we don't really see the context of it, perhaps. We just enjoy stuff, and we say, why talk about it? Just enjoy the art, don't talk about it, don't analyze it. Well, I'm sorry, I do. I pick it apart, and because that's the way my mind works. So I think we're just following this this idea of the importance of laughter. I was watching this Indian Netflix series on the story of the Buddha, and it's the story of Siddhartha and his kingdom and all of that, and it's like a soap opera. And then there's the Buddha's awakening, and then his teaching and instructing everybody. And I have one problem with that. The Buddha's not laughing. The Buddha's not laughing. So it's just too serious, So this laughter is enlightenment. This laughter is the Buddha. Okay, God's laughing. This laughter is the cosmos playing with itself. And that's the Indian view. The life is play. The cosmos is play. God is playing in the cosmos. It's all play, you see. And so the serious mind loses that. The fundamentalist mind, the little mind, the literalist mind, the serious mind cannot see irony and cannot laugh and cannot play, you see. So anyway, thanks for dropping in, and I'll see you tomorrow morning.